COVID seems like a long time ago. Not a good time for any of us, really, but we made the most of it. Especially during those times when we were locked down and we couldn't go out. You know, it seemed like months upon months and months, I'm not sure how long it was, but a long stretch of time where we had so much, if you like, free time or dead time in which to do things. And people did all sorts of things. They took up new hobbies. A lot of people went in for home improvements. I believe Home Depot and Lowe's, they did rocket sales during that time because everybody was making improvements to their home. In my case, during lockdown, I learned how to bake bread and to bake cakes. So almost every day I would bake something in some form or another. Some of it was good, some of it was not so good. But the important thing is that everything I baked, I ate. Because there was only me living in the house along with my dog. And so everything I baked and I ate, you know. And I do have a sweet tooth. I love sweets. So any given opportunity, if somebody offers me, say, cake, I will take it and I will eat it. In fact, so much so, the other day, somebody gave me a really nice loaf of bread, sourdough, with walnuts and cherries. And it lasted 2 days, to my shame. I didn't give up sweets for Lent. I probably should have. But it was a matter of when you went past what was on the table, you couldn't resist it. You'd have another piece. And that's just how I am. I do like sweets. I find them irresistible, you know. And we all have those weaknesses in each one of us. And that point being irresistible, that one thing that we can't stay away from, even we know that we shouldn't. I know somebody who has a thing for potato chips, can't leave potato chips alone. But for me, it's anything sweet. So if there's something there, I will go for it. I will go for it. I'm saying this to you today because there were a lot of people when Jesus was walking this earth who resisted Jesus. And we hear the Jews today resisting in believing him, in believing in him and following him. And yet what we see in the gospel through his raising of Lazarus, his interaction with his friends, and showing the world who he is in a very brave and yet tender way, is that Jesus is in fact irresistible. He is an irresistible person who, if we really knew him, all we'd want to do is be with him. Now, Lazarus and Martha and Mary, they knew him very well and knew him to be irresistible. And they'd spent a lot of time with Jesus, the good times and the bad times. It was Mary who washed his feet and wiped them clean with her hair. It was Martha who complained about Mary not doing enough work. You know, all those tales, they had great friendship, and Jesus was a great, great friend. And so this interaction with Martha and Mary and the friend Lazarus, who is now dead, is so important that Jesus chooses this time to reveal to the world and to his friends and to others that he really is the best the world has to offer. And not just the world, the best of what his Father has to offer. He wants us to know that he has been sent especially to each one of us in all our weaknesses and in all our flaws, to show us that what we really need is him, not all the other stuff which we consider to be important. He didn't have to raise Lazarus from the dead, and the fact that he did wasn't a sign to us that if we die tomorrow, he's going to lift us up and bring us back to life. That wasn't the point. The point was to show us and to show the world that in him we have life with him today and tomorrow and the next day, and even when we expire, even when we leave this world, that we have the best of everything promised in him for all eternity. That's the best thing we could possibly hope for. And when you think about your own life with all its frailties and its weaknesses and disappointments and anger and all those different things which weigh you down, you don't have that with Jesus. On the contrary, he takes those burdens from you, and he goes the extra way to carry those burdens for you, even to dying for you on the cross. Jesus is irresistible, and if we knew that, we would be spending far more time with him in prayer than we actually do. And this time of Lent is to call us once more to see who he is and how he can change our lives in a remarkable way. He is the perfect friend who will never fail you. We'll all fail each other. We'll all disappoint each other. Husbands disappoint wives. Wives disappoint husbands. We all fail each other. Jesus never fails us. He is everything that we want. But he also knows just how fundamentally weak we all are, that we would quite easily choose something less attractive and maybe less irresistible than him, like sweets, candy, gambling, lying, gossiping, sex, money, power, influence. The list is endless, and we know all about it because we're all a part of that. And so Jesus stands before us today, and he invites us once more to turn our lives towards him, and for us to know that we need him above all things. All things, and in every way, we need him. Next week, Holy Week, we will receive into our church around 16 new Catholic adults. 16, it's a wonderful and beautiful thing to happen. Pray for them. Pray for them to know that without Jesus they have nothing. Pray for them to know that their faith really and everything depends on him in all things. Pray that they may find Jesus irresistible. Pray that they look for him in all things. But then also pray for yourselves that your hearts may be re-inflamed with a vigor or a passion that maybe you've not seen for a long time in your life or you've never had. Jesus calls us all to new life, to believe him as the resurrection, to come out from the tomb, to strengthen those dried bones, and to turn anew for a new life. The three most holiest days appear during Holy Week: Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. The Holy Triduum, we call them, the Mass of the Lord's Supper, the liturgy of the Passion of our Lord, and the Easter Vigil of the Resurrection of the Lord. The three most Catholic days ever. Some of you will be at those services. Many of you will not. If you knew what the Lord was offering, you would be at every one, thirsty and hungering for everything that he wants to give us. That is the God who wants to give us far more than we could possibly imagine for ourselves. How will the world know Jesus and find him irresistible, if not through you or me? How will we know that unless we hear the call and come to him in prayer and thanksgiving when every occasion is offered for you to do that? Only through you will people know Jesus Christ. We have a huge responsibility. I had to go and anoint somebody the other day, somebody who's dying. And it was unusual because I walked into the room and the family were gathered around the bed. And I said, I'm Father Jeremy Thomas. I've come to anoint this person with holy oil. so they may receive Jesus for their journey. And none of them looked in my direction. It was if I wasn't there. And I thought to myself, even just the mention of the word Jesus, and nobody looked up from the bed. Now, I understand grief does lots of strange things to people, but I also know that a lack of faith or a lack of practice of our faith can make our hearts grow cold. So that when Jesus is available, nobody looks in his direction. I was talking to one of our funeral ministers just this past week, and they were saying how, back in the old days, well, it's actually not so far away, when you saw a funeral procession driving along the streets, of the neighborhood, you would stop and let the funeral procession go by, or even see some people making the sign of the cross in prayer or respect for the person who has died. You don't see that, do you? You don't see that now, or very rarely. But it was a beautiful expression of knowing that what was taking place is sacred. And the person sort of said to me, well, but of course there's just no respect in the world now, is there? And of course, the person is right. But at the same time, if not through us, how will people know what is holy and what is not holy? If not through us, how will people know or not know to respect a funeral procession as it moves through our neighborhoods? Again, it comes down to Jesus calling us once again out of the tomb and to new life in him, and finding him irresistible and irresistible alone. All the other stuff, we don't need. Him is essential, not just for me and my salvation, but the salvation of all your families and of all your neighbors and of all the people you see in the streets. It all comes down to us and how we present ourselves to the world. So believe in the one that God has sent. That's what he says today. I've come that people may believe that my Father has sent me. Do we believe? And what do we believe? And what does that mean? In a previous parish, I was always sort of knocking heads really with the lady who used to do the flowers and decorations of the church. And it was a traditional church with a tabernacle in the middle and everything. And this person suddenly, she sort of got a taste for artificial flowers. And we would argue over it. And I would say to her, how can we put before a real God something that is fake? And so we might ask ourselves today, how can we come before ourselves? How can we ourselves come before a real God and be fake? The Lord calls us to new life in him. Not our version or the world's version, but the version he wants us to be. And in order for that to happen, we have to come before him as we are. And as we come before him as we are, it needs that we need to change, that we need to change our hearts and find him as the irresistible one of our life.